This summer,
Whoa!
Disney Channel's taking you
Hello!
to Gravity Falls, a mysterious town
Behold! Zombie!
just north of Normal,
Dude, check it out. Bud Island.
where the unexplained
What the heck is going on here?
will stay unexplained.
The animated series Gravity Falls was released in 2012 and won the hearts of the audience in the blink of an eye. The summer adventures of the twins Dipper and Mabel is a rare kind of animation that targets children but works perfectly for adults. The author of Gravity Falls, Alex Hirsch, admitted in an interview that he wanted to create a show that would be interesting for both children and grown-ups. And he did it. Let's explore the valleys and forests of Gravity Falls and reveal its hidden meaning. Gravity Falls is the project created by Alex Hirsch, an animator at Disney Studios. At first, he worked on the animated series Fishhooks, at the same time developing his own project that interested the producers. Gravity Falls is Alex's personal story. He claimed the images of Dipper and Mabel were inspired by his childhood memories of spending time with his twin sister, Ariel. Ariel adored colored sweaters, fell in love every 5 minutes, and dreamed about a pet pig. Alex has analyzed every single detail of his childhood stories and turned them into a story about a fantastic town. It is safe to say that Gravity Falls shows the childhood Alex and his sister dreamed about. Grunkle Stan, yeah, that's a combination of uncle, grandpa, and grumpy, also has a prototype. It's their grandfather they spent the whole summer with. In his youth, their grandfather was engaged in various kinds of events, just like Grunkle Stan. He also enjoyed making fun of his grandchildren and telling them different stories. Growing up in the 90s, Alex was obsessed with conspiracy theories, urban legends, alien stories, and magical creatures. Ariel laughed at his obsession and once lied she saw a UFO in the schoolyard. Alex spent several hours there, sitting on the grass and waiting for the UFO to appear. On the eve of 2000, the world was literally going insane, anticipating the end of the world, so the media was filled with different types of hoaxes, and supernatural and fantasy series and novels were on the peak of popularity. Alex was looking for leprechauns, aliens, studied myths and legends, but as a true researcher, he wanted to find proof. At the time, The X-Files was one of his favorite shows, and that's why Dipper and Mabel resemble agents Mulder and Scully if they were children. Many people say that the atmosphere of Gravity Falls resembles that of Twin Peaks, but for children. Hirsch really watched the series directed by David Lynch and even asked him to voice Grunkle Stan, but Lynch turned it down. Moreover, Hirsch likes it when people see the references. His series also takes place in rural America, where everything is not what it seems. The owls are not what they seem, and one faces a bunch of mysteries every day. Like Agent Cooper, Dipper explores the mysteries of the diary he found, and the truth turns out to be more complex than he expected. Gravity Falls and Twin Peaks have similar antagonists. Bill Cipher, a creature from another dimension, is like Bob from Twin Peaks. They both influence people's minds, dragging them to the dark side. In the Lynch show, the speech of the characters gets distorted in the Red Room as it's located outside of our world. In Gravity Falls, Bill entraps the characters in the black and white timeless dimension. Under Bill's influence, they start talking backwards. Like in Twin Peaks, the inhabitants of the small town take sides with good or evil. The Pines family has sworn enemies too. For example, Gideon Gleeful, who made a deal with the antagonist. Gravity Falls balances between a child's sincere faith in miracles and irony over hoaxes of an adult. The mysterious diary Dipper finds is filled with weird stories about dwarves, zombies, and unicorns, and, surprisingly, all these stories turn out to be true. However, these creatures differ from common myths and legends. The Minotaurs mock extreme brutality and call themselves the Minotaurs. The dwarves can gather into one big dwarf, and it's a reference to Power Rangers and Japanese kaiju. Gravity Falls plays with the viewer who always looks for a deeper meaning and Easter eggs. Alex Hirsch's show is for those who are like him, who search for the message in every detail. Therefore, one has to pay attention, even to the background. At the end of the main credits in every episode, there is a mysterious whisper. If we listen to it backwards, there's a message. The first one says, 3 letters back, which implies we should dig into the Caesar cipher. In other words, you have to shift every third letter by a certain number of symbols according to their place in the alphabet. After episode 6, the message whispers, switch A with Z. And from the next episode, the Caesar cipher is replaced by Atbash, which is deciphered by mirroring the alphabet. The series plays with the audience. Who can imagine a conspiracy theory without a cipher? Especially when the antagonist is a living Masonic symbol. The flying yellow triangle bill cipher is based on the image of the all-seeing eye one can see on a dollar bill. Even its name is a reference to currency. Bill is a combination of Masonic symbols, the all-seeing eye and the pyramid. These are the most popular objects that are brought up when it comes to conspiracy theories and rewritten history. Hirsch uses this kind of manner of narration to laugh at our obsession with seeing more behind the ordinary symbols. Gravity Falls would remain a children's TV series if it wasn't for the many adult issues that it raises. Almost each episode features a joke or a hint that only an adult can understand. It might be a visual gag or a quote of Sartre uttered by a character. It goes without saying that Gravity Falls is a great example of postmodernism. It is a philosophical and cultural phenomenon of the second half of the 20th century that is characterized by fragmentary statements, overwhelming irony, endless references, allusions, and quotes, as well as dark humor and disregard for classical values. We can find all these features in Gravity Falls. The series is filled with pop culture references from boy bands to ancient mythology and video games. Gravity Falls makes fun of everything, even though sailing close to the wind. At the same time, the characters don't forget to fasten their seatbelts, so Disney censorship approves of it. Gravity Falls uses the language of postmodernism to voice the issues the society has been obsessed with for centuries. What is good and evil? What is love? Is there a point in being immortal? Can you find answers to these questions in the philosophy of different eras? We discuss them in detail in our course, The Entire History of Philosophy. The link is in the description box. Alex Hirsch's show is closely connected to American culture. A vast majority of mystical plot lines of Gravity Falls are based on American folklore. Moreover, they make the series really creepy. For example, the episode about the hide behind tells about the creature that lives in the forest. Loggers disappear, people go too deep in the forest and never come back, and the hide behind is to blame. The old legend about loggers appeared in the series several times. Hirsch couldn't leave Paul Bunyan without attention. It is a legendary giant lumberjack and a fundamental folk hero of American culture. In the series, it's a statue, but Wendy's brother and father resemble him way too much. Note how ironic the show is when it comes to mysticism. The main characters live in the mystery shack that literally mooches off folklore fictions. While mystical things exist in the show, Grunkle Stan still sells shams to the visitors. Most of the characters are subject to mythological thinking. Maybe it's the reason why fairies, mermaids, and other creatures are real in Gravity Falls. Mythological thinking is an archaic form of cognition of reality. It implies that a person is not separate from nature. The world is integral, with all objects being animated and related to each other. A person and their ancestral ties are described in natural metaphors. That's why there are half-animal, half-people who live in accordance with human laws. Yet, there are two people whose thinking is philosophical. Here, we are referring to Dipper and his uncle, Stanford Pines. They stick to cosmocentric views. They perceive the world as a cosmos, diverse, harmonious, and terrifying. We can also compare them to the scientists of the Enlightenment who valued reason before anything, attempted to systematize the world around them, cognize it, and analyze its phenomena. At the same time, Gravity Falls is a family show that tells about such crucial and close to everyone topics as growing up, parenting, communication with others, conflict between siblings, fathers, and children. The series pays attention to the issues of self-determination, depression, guilt, and attempts to fix the mistakes. Dipper learns to trust others and find courage within his heart. Mabel realizes no one can make the world, and growing up stop. Ford falls victim to his pride, and Grunkle Stan spends his life trying to make it up to his brother. Almost every episode shows that characters try to solve an everyday issue that is exaggerated due to a mystical environment. The boy Mabel falls in love with is a set of dwarves, and Dipper faces a classic science fiction dilemma about freedom of clones. It resembles the concept of ancient Greek mythology where demigods act as main characters. But how is that connected? The thing is, demigods face human problems, but in an exaggerated form because of their divine nature. This way, Gravity Falls reflects on typical teenage problems through the magnifying lens of mysticism, which helps to understand how important these problems are. Alex Hirsch managed to create a universal piece. Gravity Falls works for children because the animation looks bright and enjoyable. The jokes are funny, and the cute pig waddles, and awkward situations make their hearts beat faster. Adults spot the second layer of the series that talks about depression, loneliness, bullying, self-determination issues, age crisis, irony over show business, and world conspiracy theories. And even though you see all the frustrating shades of the show, you still stay on the positive, life-affirming note. Despite all traps and mind games set by the villains, family affection and support always wins. Finally, we love Gravity Falls because it's a dream of a perfect summer vacation for both Alex Hirsch and us. How do you feel about Dipper and Mabel Adventures? Which episode or scene is your favorite? Gravity Falls is a wholesome collection of meanings and references not only to pop culture, but also to philosophy. The creators of the series pronounce it directly, quoting Sartre, and indirectly, hiding complex ideas behind fantastic images. Contemporary culture is closer to philosophy than you might think. If you want to learn how to spot philosophical references, join our course, The Entire History of Philosophy. There, we analyze the most important philosophical concepts. The link is in the description box.